Imagine you are standing in a crowded room, holding your coffee, when suddenly someone levels a sharp, stinging insult directly at you for everyone to hear. In an instant, your heart rate spikes, your face flushes hot, and your brain screams for a vicious comeback. A way to hurt them exactly as much as they just tried to hurt you. In that split second, you are standing at a psychological crossroads, teetering right on the edge of a dangerous trap. Your survival instincts and modern society both tell you that to defend your honor, you absolutely must strike back, because staying silent feels like weakness. You want to raise your voice, dominate the argument, and put them in their place. But that is exactly what your attacker is waiting for. When someone insults your intelligence or your character, they want one thing above all else: your reaction. The moment you get defensive or lose your temper, you have essentially handed your leash over to your enemy. You are no longer the master of your own soul. You are nothing but a puppet dancing to the miserable tune of their disrespect. The trap is set, and by reacting, you are willingly stepping right into it. A person who insults you is projecting their own insecurities, anger, and unhappiness onto you, essentially handing you a package of their own toxic negativity. But here is the ultimate Stoic secret: you do not have to accept that delivery. An insult is not a factual statement about your character. It is merely a loud confession regarding the speaker's own internal chaos and confusion. They are shouting into the wind, and if you do not catch the wind, it simply passes by harmlessly. When you feel the intense urge to bite back, remember that the goal is not to humiliate your opponent or to dominate the room with a louder voice. The true goal is to stay calm, stay in control, and never let anyone steal your inner peace. Stoicism teaches us that your mind is an impenetrable fortress, and your emotions should be your tools, not your masters. If you trade insult for insult, you instantly become their twin, validating their toxic behavior by mirroring it. The ancient Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius knew that the best revenge is simply to be unlike the person who performed the injury. If you want to maintain true authority, you do not need a sharper tongue. You need a stronger mind. You must realize that true power is not the ability to crush your enemies, but the ability to remain completely indifferent to their desperate attempts to crush you. To understand the sheer magnitude of this psychological authority, you have to look back at one of the most powerful men who ever lived, the ancient Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. As the ruler of the entire Roman Empire, he possessed absolute and unquestioned political power. If someone disrespected him, he did not need to win a verbal argument. He could simply snap his fingers and have his critics banished or silenced forever. Yet, his private journals reveal a man who faced daily betrayals, deceit, and stinging insults without ever losing his temper. Why would an emperor with limitless power choose to ignore petty insults rather than punish his critics? Because Marcus Aurelius understood the profound difference between brute force and true psychological dominance. He realized that the moment you allow another person to provoke you into anger, you have surrendered your imperial crown. You have stepped down from your throne to wrestle in the dirt. Ask yourself this question: why would you ever hand the remote control to your emotional state over to someone that you do not even like or respect? An ordinary person believes that if they do not fight back, they will look weak in front of others. They think that shouting louder or delivering a sharper comeback is a display of power. But the Stoic mind flips this logic entirely upside down. The Stoic knows that barking back at a barking dog does not make you a stronger dog. It just proves that you are acting on the exact same level. When a dog barks, you do not take it personally because you expect an animal to act like an animal. In the exact same way, Marcus Aurelius trained himself to expect that unhappy, insecure, and miserable people would naturally lash out with toxic words. He viewed their insults not as weapons that could actually pierce his armor, but as a simple biological reality, much like a sudden rainstorm or a harsh winter wind. You do not yell at the rain. You simply put up your umbrella. This is the ultimate Stoic secret to handling disrespect. You build an invisible barrier between the event and your reaction to the event. While the reactive person is immediately swept away by a flood of adrenaline and defense mechanisms, the Stoic mind observes the insult floating in the air, examines it calmly, and realizes it is completely weightless. It is just a vibration of sound waves. If the insult is true, it is simply helpful feedback, and there is no reason to be angry. If the insult is false, it is a lie, and lies are the problem of the liar, not the person being lied about. Either way, your inner peace remains entirely untouched. Your authority is never compromised because you simply refuse to participate in their emotional chaos. To truly refuse participation in that chaos, you must first dismantle the illusion that makes insults feel so dangerously real. The ancient philosopher Epictetus provided a brilliant framework for this when he compared insults to echoes. Imagine standing in a massive, empty canyon and shouting. The sound bounces off the walls and rushes back at you, loud and intimidating. But what is an echo? It is entirely hollow. It has no physical weight, no sharp edges, and absolutely no power to harm you unless you convince yourself that the sound is a physical monster coming to attack you. An insult works in the exact same way. It is nothing more than a vibration of air, a hollow echo bouncing around the room. It is completely worthless and powerless until you make the conscious decision to pay attention to it and give it meaning. When that person in the crowded room directs a venomous comment at you, what they are offering is not a fact about your life. It is merely their opinion, heavily filtered through the distorted lens of their own bad mood, their jealousy, or their deep-seated insecurities. Why do we so easily confuse another person's subjective opinion with objective reality? If someone walked up to you and confidently stated that the sky was neon green, or that 2 + 2 = 75, you would not feel a sudden surge of blinding rage. You would not feel the need to desperately defend the color of the sky or the rules of basic mathematics. You would simply look at them, realize they are deeply confused, and walk away feeling a slight sense of pity. You would recognize that their false statement does not change the reality of the sky or the truth of mathematics. Yet, when someone makes a false statement about your character, your intelligence, or your worth, you immediately treat their delusion as if it is a verified fact that must be violently destroyed. You forget that their words are just echoes. Epictetus taught that it is never the words themselves that cause you pain. but exclusively your own internal judgment about those words. The pain only exists because you silently agree with the attacker, or because you desperately crave their approval. But what happens when you strip away that craving? What happens when you separate the objective fact from the subjective feeling? The illusion immediately shatters. You realize that you are standing inside an impenetrable fortress, and the person insulting you is standing outside the gates, throwing handfuls of sand at solid stone walls. The sand cannot dent the stone. The echo cannot bruise the flesh. Their opinion does not, and cannot, redefine your reality. The moment you stop validating their echoes with your emotional reactions, you starve them of the only oxygen they have, leaving you completely untouchable and entirely at peace. So, how do you actually step securely inside that impenetrable fortress when the sudden attack comes? How do you physically stop yourself from reacting when your heart is pounding and your brain is screaming at you to fight back? The answer lies in mastering the ultimate Stoic weapon, which is the art of the pause. When that person in the room throws a verbal dart at your character, your immediate biological instinct is to fill the empty air with a rapid, defensive response. You desperately want to justify yourself, explain why they are completely wrong, or launch a vicious counterattack to save face. But the Stoic mind knows that the very first move in this psychological judo match is never about what you say. It is exclusively about what you do not say. You must learn to literally freeze time by deploying a tactical silence. The next time you are insulted, stop exactly where you are, breathe in deeply, and simply count to 3. 1, 2, 3. During those 3 agonizingly long seconds, look your attacker directly in the eyes with a completely calm and entirely neutral expression. This intentional pause is the most uncomfortable thing an aggressive person can ever experience. By refusing to respond immediately, you are sending a crystal clear, unspoken signal that their toxic words have not even registered as a legitimate threat on your radar. You are essentially asking them, without uttering a single syllable, "Is that all you have?" This subtle shift in the psychological dynamic instantly transfers the intense pressure of the room away from you and places it squarely back onto their shoulders. They expected a loud, highly emotional reaction, and by giving them absolute nothingness, you make them look incredibly foolish and desperate for attention. The average person mistakes silence for weakness, assuming that if you do not speak, it means you are afraid or you have nothing clever to say. But Stoic silence is not a white flag of surrender. It is a highly calculated moment of internal assessment. While you are pausing for those 3 crucial seconds, you are actively transforming your blinding anger into sharp, clinical observation. You are taking a step back and asking yourself a simple question: is what this person just said actually true? If their insult contains truth, then it is not an insult at all. It is merely data. It is constructive feedback. And you have no logical reason to be angry. If their statement is completely false, then it is simply a lie. And lies are exclusively the moral problem of the liar, not the person being lied about. By mastering the art of the pause, you immediately cut the invisible string that the attacker is trying to attach to your emotions. You stop being a reactive participant in their messy drama and instantly become a detached observer of their chaotic behavior. You watch them swing wildly in the dark while you stand perfectly still, unharmed, observing the entire situation with the cool, collected clarity of a true master. Once those 3 seconds of absolute silence have passed, the heavy tension in the room is entirely on them, and they are waiting for you to finally snap. This is the exact moment you deploy your first technique of psychological judo. While an ordinary person would launch a frantic defensive counterattack, you are going to do something completely unexpected. You are going to look them right in the eye, offer a very slight, unbothered smile, and say 4 simple words: interesting, tell me more. The sheer brilliance of this response lies in its complete lack of resistance. In physical judo, you do not block an attacker's punch with rigid force. You step aside and use their own aggressive momentum to throw them off balance. Psychological judo works exactly the same way. When a person insults your intelligence or your work, they are throwing a punch, fully expecting you to push back so they can keep fighting by saying, interesting, tell me more. You are refusing to give them the solid wall they need to push against. Instead of defending yourself, you respond to their hostility with mild, almost clinical curiosity. Instantly, the entire power dynamic of the room flips upside down. You have transitioned from being the target of an attack into the role of a detached observer, or even a judge, politely asking a child to explain their tantrum. The person who insulted you was looking for a quick, explosive reaction. But now they are suddenly trapped in the incredibly awkward position of having to logically explain their irrational rudeness to a calm, collected audience. They have to keep digging their own hole. The ancient philosopher Seneca wrote that a great mind becomes both stronger and more self-reliant the more it is tested. Think of this insult not as a threat, but as a real-time test of your emotional independence. By inviting them to continue speaking, you strip away their power and force them to expose their true motivations, which are usually rooted in deep jealousy or desperate insecurity. As they stumble over their words trying to justify their petty comment, their weakness becomes painfully obvious to everyone watching. You do not have to raise your voice. You do not have to hurl a clever insult back at them. And you certainly do not have to prove your worth to them. Your absolute tranquility is the only proof of intelligence you need. You have taken their toxic energy, absorbed it without taking a single scratch, and turned it into a perfect mirror that reflects their own ugliness right back at them, proving once and for all that your mind is truly an unconquerable fortress. As your attacker stands there, desperately trying to recover from the awkwardness of having to explain their own outburst, they will likely try one last, desperate swing to regain control of the room. They might raise their voice or throw a slightly sharper, more direct insult at your competence or your character, hoping to finally crack your armor and drag you down into the mud with them. This is the exact moment you deploy your second psychological judo technique, a move so profoundly disarming that it completely shatters their entire strategy. You look at them with that same calm, unbothered expression, gently nod your head, and calmly say, "You might be right." Upon initial inspection, this phrase appears to be a simple surrender, but in the realm of psychological warfare, it is a weapon of absolute serenity and mastery. When people throw insults, they do so because they are looking for a very specific reaction. They want to see rage, defensiveness, or humiliation. Because that proves their words have the power to control you. By calmly stating that they might be right, you completely interrupt their narrative and starve their fire of the oxygen it desperately needs to burn. You do not defend yourself. You do not justify your actions. And you do not counterattack. You simply step out of the way and let their aggressive momentum send them crashing face first into a solid wall of indifference. The ancient Stoics understood that no one can actually insult you if you refuse to be insulted. You are building an impenetrable mental barrier. By acknowledging the mere possibility of their statement without taking a defensive stance, you are demonstrating a level of confidence and intellect that they simply cannot comprehend. You are not naively accepting their insult as the truth, nor are you actively working to prove it false. Instead, you are creating a subtle, devastating tension in the room. The person who insulted you suddenly realizes that their words have absolutely zero emotional grip on you. The shame or frustration they anticipated never materializes, and your unshakable authority emerges in its place. It is exactly like a martial artist utilizing the aggressive force of their opponent against them. This response harnesses the dark energy of the insult to demonstrate exactly how little it affects your reality. The Roman philosopher Seneca wrote that anger, if it is not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the actual injury that provokes it. By responding with, "You might be right," you protect your own mind from unwarranted agitation and keep yourself from getting lured into a pointless argument just to bolster your ego. You leave the attacker looking petty and reactionary, while you remain perfectly composed, proving that your peace of mind is an unconquerable territory. As your attacker is left standing there, completely disarmed by your calm acceptance, the immediate threat of the confrontation is over. But the Stoic mind does not stop at mere defense. It moves to the highest level of psychological mastery, which is transformation. This is the alchemy of insults. An ordinary person hears a harsh criticism, immediately drinks the emotional poison, and suffers the painful consequences. A Stoic takes that exact same criticism, places it into the crucible of reason, burns away all the toxic malice, and extracts the pure, valuable data left behind. To achieve this, you must ask yourself one simple, uncompromising question: is what they just said actually true? If the person insulting you calls you lazy or points out a legitimate flaw in your work, you must actively strip away their angry tone and examine the raw fact. If they are right, then it is not an insult at all. It is simply free feedback. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius famously wrote that he sought the truth, which never harmed anyone, and noted that the real danger lies in clinging to mistakes and allowing anger to take control of your personality. Why should you be angry at someone who is pointing out a flaw that you can now fix? You take their hostile energy, use it to upgrade your own character, and leave them behind. You have literally turned their garbage into gold. On the other hand, what if you deeply examine their insult and find that it is completely false if they are lying? Then their words have absolutely nothing to do with your reality. The ancient Stoics understood that a lie is exclusively the moral and psychological problem of the liar. If someone calls you a terrible friend, but you know with absolute certainty that you have been loyal and kind, their delusion does not alter your character by a single inch. It is exactly like someone pointing at a solid brick wall and calling it a fragile piece of paper. You do not need to scream at them to prove it is a wall. The wall proves itself by simply existing, by consciously separating the delivery of the insult from the actual information it contains. You strip the attacker of their final weapon. They desperately wanted to hurt you, but instead, they either accidentally helped you improve, or they merely exposed their own pathetic ignorance to the entire room. You have successfully filtered the gold from the sand, leaving them with nothing but their own bitter exhaustion, while your mind grows sharper, stronger, and significantly more resilient than it ever was before. When you have successfully filtered the gold from the sand and left your attacker completely disarmed, you might still feel a lingering, biological urge for retribution. Human nature deeply demands that we balance the scales, and modern society constantly tells us that to truly win a conflict, we absolutely must strike back and inflict equal or greater pain. But the Stoic mind approaches the concept of retaliation from an entirely different and almost terrifying level of authority. The ancient Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius, a man who commanded the greatest army on earth and could have destroyed any critic with a single command, wrote in his private journals that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Think about the profound psychological dominance buried within that simple sentence. An ordinary person believes that revenge requires a louder voice, a sharper insult, or a more vicious counterattack. They desperately want to drag you down into the mud so you can wrestle on their low level. But the exact moment you trade insult for insult, you have instantly become their exact twin. You have validated their toxic behavior by perfectly mirroring it. And in doing so, you have surrendered your imperial crown to play the pathetic role of a street brawler. True authority is not the ability to crush your enemies. It is the absolute ability to remain completely indifferent to their desperate attempts to crush you. If someone is being petty, you be magnanimous. If they are being loud, you be quiet. If they are being dishonest, you be radically truthful. By refusing to meet them at their level, you maintain the ultimate high ground. You do not need to plot a complex scheme to punish them, because their punishment is already happening right in front of your eyes. They are trapped inside a chaotic, miserable mind, enslaved by their own anger, jealousy, and desperate need for external validation. By simply observing them with cool, detached excellence, you force them to realize that their weapons are completely useless against your character. You become an unshakable mirror, reflecting their own lack of self-control directly back at them. This is the ultimate revenge. It is not loud, it is not aggressive, and it does not require a single drop of your precious energy. You simply continue to live your life with focused excellence, improving your character and pursuing your goals as if they do not even exist. You watch them struggle and thrash in their own emotional storm, while you stand securely on the shore, completely dry and entirely untouched. When you reach this level of mastery, Your self-worth is deeply rooted in your own unshakable character, rather than the fleeting opinions of others, making you truly invincible in any room you ever enter. To step into this truly invincible territory, you must make one final, defining realization about human nature. You must recognize with absolute certainty that no other human being on this earth was born with the remote control to your emotions. When you walk through your daily life reacting to every minor slight, every sideways glance, and every sharp comment, you are essentially handing that precious remote control over to complete strangers. You are willingly allowing people that you do not even like or respect to dictate whether you feel happy, angry, or utterly devastated. But the Stoic mind refuses to play this dangerous game. The Stoic mind takes that power back and builds an unconquerable fortress around its peace. As the ancient philosopher Epictetus profoundly taught, it is never the person who hurls the insult that actually harms you. The only thing that can ever cause you psychological pain is your own conscious decision to agree with them. If you simply choose not to agree, the insult evaporates into the empty air. It becomes nothing more than meaningless noise. Think about the sheer freedom that comes with this advanced level of mental discipline. You can walk into any crowded room, face any difficult colleague at work, and navigate any deeply toxic environment with the absolute certainty that your inner peace is heavily guarded. You are no longer a fragile glass vase waiting to be shattered by a careless word. You are a solid stone wall. The wind can howl, the rain can pour, and angry people can throw handfuls of sand at you all day long, but you will remain entirely unmoved. This is the true essence of psychological authority. It is the quiet, devastating power of choosing pure logic over biological impulse, and absolute serenity over unnecessary chaos. From this day forward, when the verbal attack inevitably comes, remember the powerful tools you now possess. Use the tactical pause to literally freeze time. Use mild curiosity to completely disarm their unprovoked aggression. Use calm acceptance to starve their hostile fire of its oxygen, and above all else, use their negativity as the raw material to forge a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. If you found lasting value in this journey into the Stoic mind, and if you are truly ready to stop letting other people control your emotional state, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel right now. By subscribing, you are actively joining a dedicated community of individuals who are committed to mastering themselves and building an unconquerable mindset in a chaotic world. Leave a comment below with the word fortress to let us know you made it to the very end and are fully committed to protecting your peace. Until next time, remain calm, stay in control, and keep building your fortress. The journey to mastering your own mind does not end here. It is a daily practice of choosing reason over reaction and peace over chaos. Whenever the world tries to drag you down, remember the invisible armor you wear and the immense power of your own silence. If these Stoic principles have helped you build a stronger mental fortress today, please hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the channel for more ancient wisdom. Leave a comment below with the word invincible to commit to your new mindset. Until next time, stay grounded, stay stoic, and never surrender your inner peace. See you next video.